Fans should be glad to learn that one DCU movie is still alive in the trenches. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Thankfully, bigger outlets snuffed out that rumor and had sources confirming that Sergeant Rock was not going away, with production only being pushed back a year to summer 2026. But that didn't stop fans from worrying about its prospects of living to that day. After Gunn announced the cancellation of an unnamed DCU movie, some speculated that it could have been Sergeant Rock on the chopping block, considering the lack of official updates since the abrupt delay in production. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, the outlet asked James Gunn about the current state of Sergeant Rock and whether the character would still march into theaters. In news that should assuage fears, Gunn confirmed it's in a pretty good place and is still moving forward. He elaborated that it wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be creatively, and that it needs to change a little bit. James Gunn once affirmed that DC Studios wouldn't greenlight projects until he had a finished script that made him and the studio happy. This mandate has already caused ripple effects for numerous projects, such as the delay of Matt Reeves' sequel to The Batman and the cancellation of one unnamed DCU project. One film that's been through the trenches is Sergeant Rock, which not only lost James Bond star Daniel Craig as the titular sergeant but was also quickly rumored to be cancelled shortly after his departure. It became the first casualty in James Gunn's DCU. While Daniel Craig did drop out as Franklin John Rock, DC Studios was quick to double-dip and court Colin Farrell. However, there haven't been any updates on whether Farrell has accepted the role yet. I feel like we're in a pretty good place. We're still moving forward, but it's not going to be, what would Peter want me to say here? So it's still moving forward, but, yeah, right now it wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be creatively, and so it needs to change a little bit. Considering production was already pushed back to next summer, Gunn and DC Studios have likely accounted for the time needed to make these little changes, so it'd be a surprise to see production for Sergeant Rock delayed again, hardly an issue of connectivity with the rest of the DCU, since Sergeant Rock and his famous infantry unit, Easy Company, already appeared in Creature Commandos alongside G.I. Robot. However, that might not be enough to excite audiences since not everyone has seen the adult animated series on HBO Max. The reported plot of Sergeant Rock before production was delayed would have taken a page out from Indiana Jones and revolved around Easy Company working alongside the French resistance to find the Spear of Destiny, the same spear used to stab Jesus Christ during his crucifixion before the Nazis. Regardless of who will eventually be starring in this wartime film, the crux of the issue is undoubtedly the screenplay, which hasn't yet met Gunn's high expectations like Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface. It's anyone's guess what has Gunn hesitant to move into pre-production, but it can't be that big since the project would only need to change a little bit. One little change to the screenplay could be the MacGuffin that Rock and Easy Company are chasing down. Instead of the Spear of Destiny, it could be an artifact tied more closely to another DC property, such as Themyscira. Perhaps this would tie into the upcoming Paradise Lost series and hook in more of an audience by having a connection to a bigger character like Wonder Woman. DC Studios continues to weave the web between projects in the rebooted DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The DC Cinematic Universe, DCU, has only just begun with the release of Creature Commandos and the upcoming Superman, but DC Studios is already laying the groundwork for its interconnected universe. Co-studio head James Gunn made it clear his DCU will do some things differently from the current MCU. Still, both franchises aim to create a range of superhero projects that link together into a cohesive universe, which involves planning these links well ahead of time. The Wonder Woman-adjacent television series Paradise Lost was one of the initial DCU projects in James Gunn and Peter Safran's Gods and Monsters slate. The series is focused on the origins and culture of Themyscira, the mythical all-female island from which Diana Prince hails. Gunn confirmed to Entertainment Weekly that Paradise Lost and the upcoming Wonder Woman movie would be separate things, but that they're connected. A new Wonder Woman movie was only just confirmed to be in development, so it's unclear how intertwined the two projects will be, but it's a safe bet that Themyscira will be a link between both. DC Studios already laid out how some of its projects will connect, whether that be through a certain character appearing in multiple DC films or series or a story event linking these disparate titles together. With a second season of Creature Commandos confirmed, it will no doubt continue to be a launchpad for DCU characters and connections across the wider superhero universe. Creature Commandos and its ragtag team of monster heroes already have fingers in several DCU pies thanks to its inclusion of characters like Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr., who has a role in both Superman and Peacemaker Season 2. Viola Davis also returns to voice Argus director Amanda Waller in the animated show, who was responsible for assembling the Suicide Squad in the old DCU, and Gunn's sequel The Suicide Squad, and commissions the Creature Commandos team. Several Superman actors have been confirmed for appearances in Peacemaker's second season, including Isabella Merced, Hawkgirl, Nathan Fillion, Green Lantern, and Sean Gunn, Maxwell Lord. Superman is also heavily rumored to feature a cameo from Millie Alcock's Supergirl film, which will tie the two Kryptonian heroes' stories together. Superman hits theaters on July 11, 2025. Superman is the first live-action film in the rebooted DCU and, as such, is one of the essential tethers in the superhero universe. The appearance of Rick Flag Sr., Frank Grillo, in the film connects the movie to Creature Commandos, but perhaps more relevant is how Superman will connect to the next DCU project, Peacemaker Season 2. In Season 1, Peacemaker followed on from the events of the Suicide Squad, and saw Peacemaker team up with Amanda Waller's daughter Leota, Danielle Brooks, to stop an intergalactic invasion. Season 2 of the show will follow the events of Superman, introducing Frank Grillo Sr. to the story and some of Superman's Justice Gang characters. Releasing its second season on August 21, 2025, on HBO Max, Peacemaker is a unique project that existed in both the old DCU and the new one, and as a result, will bridge both superhero franchises. After being introduced in the Suicide Squad, John Cena's non-traditional hero gained enough popularity to earn his own show. While audiences will meet Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, aka Green Lantern, in Superman First, he is far from the only man to carry the moniker, which will be explored in the HBO series Lanterns. The next major film release after Superman will follow the Kryptonian's cousin, Supergirl. Landing on June 26, 2026, the movie is directed by Craig Gillespie and stars Alcock as Supergirl in an adventure that features Jason Momoa's Lobo. Regarding crossover material, Supergirl is likely to connect in some ways to Superman's events, just because the two characters are family. However, a cameo from David Corenswet's hero or another Superman character isn't unlikely, particularly if Alcock makes an appearance in his solo film first. Additionally, Supergirl is expected to include Superman's dog, Krypto, who features in both stories. Another TV show included in the Chapter 1 slate for the DCU is Waller, a solo series starring Viola Davis's Argus director. The series is supposedly directly connected to Peacemaker and will explore Waller's relationship with her Argus team members, particularly her daughter, Leota. However, it's unclear where the series stands right now. A report indicates that Waller is one of several DCU projects facing problems in development. These projects are far from the only ones DC Studios has in development at the moment. However, these are the ones that have confirmed connections to other DCU projects. Lanterns features